to review this document, and now I want to speak on it just to clear up any areas of confusion and to highlight the main points. What we're going to do is split up the class into two groups in half, and each half is going to argue whether they feel that video games have a positive effect on these three areas or whether they have a negative effect on these three areas. Our format is going to go a little something like this. We'll have our first speaker from each side that comes up and gives their introductory statement for 2 minutes. Following that, we're going to have our first house give their first argument, which is going to be based on school achievement, for 3 minutes. Then we're going to stop for 1 minute where each house will be able to discuss. This is basically time for the opposing house to give to think about their rebuttal and to prep their speaker for that. After that 1 minute discussion is over, house number 2 is going to come up and rebut house number 2's arguments and give their own argument. So it's going to be a 1 minute rebuttal and a 3 minute argument. Give some time to discuss and repeat that process a couple of times. We come down at the end of our debate. There's going to be a speaker from each house that comes up, starting with a rebuttal, because House 1 did not have time to rebut House 2's third argument. So that's going to be a 1 minute rebuttal and our closing statement for 1 minute. And ending the debate will be House 2 giving their summary and closing statement for 1 minute. A point here is that you think I'm not going to be speaking for this debate, so good, I never have to speak, but that's not true. I'm going to go ahead and give 3 debates before the end of the year, so probably 1 a month until we get to December, and during that time you'll have at least one opportunity to speak. So I'm not going to leave anyone out. You'll either speak now or you'll speak later. And let's go ahead and look at this document. This is the document that I'm going to require from each team member, right? So you need to fill this out. This document here has prompts, so this is just to explain what I want from you. Down at the bottom, I give you a empty document, and that's the one you're going to fill out and then turn in to me on Schoology. And this is required from every team member. How it's going to go is we're going to start with our opening statement. For your specific point, you're going to give 2 to 3 well thought out sentences summarizing all of your points. Be sure to include these points. And after you finish that, we're going to go ahead and give our first argument. And so each argument needs to have at least 2 points developed in a 2-paragraph essay, 1 paragraph per point, in total containing at least 150 words. Please don't go bonkers and put like 500 words in this paragraph. I'd be grading it until until the end of the year. So just keep it 150 words. If you do need to speak, you feel that you need to speak more to make your point, try to be more eloquent. And so we come down here, and I want each point to be backed up by 2 academic articles used as references. So there's 2 ways to go about this. You could first think of your point first, and then search for an academic article to back up your point, or you can start by reading academic articles on the subject, on that topic, and then deciding which one is the most effective that you feel. And then use that as your argument. So either way, but of course I want your 2 references here. I want your 150 words here, and the references will be required in APA format. That is referenced at the bottom of this a debate document. You want to go ahead and be sure your arguments contain these points, and after that we want to have our counter argument. And what is a counter argument? Well, if I ask you for your opinion on a subject, right, and you give me your opinion, I'm going to tell you, well, speak on the opposing side's position. Right? And so if you can't speak to me on the opposing side's position, then what I'm going to tell you is that your opinion has no water. It doesn't have any feet to stand on because you don't completely understand the issue. So you can't have an opinion. So basically, in order to speak or have an opinion, you have to understand both sides of the issue. That's what the counter argument here is talking about. So you're going to come up with your argument. After you finish that, sit back and think, what would the opposing side bring up in counter to the argument that I bring up? And then you're going to try and counter that anticipated counter argument. So go ahead and write one paragraph with one point that is countering the anticipated counter argument from your opponent, and use at least one academic article. And so go ahead and repeat that. Make sure that, and I made some errors here, so I'm going to go ahead and edit that later. I was going to have 2 paragraphs and 2 points for each counter argument, but let's just have one. And then we're going to go ahead and repeat that for argument number 2 and argument number 3. We can see here that, okay, I left out counter argument number 3 as well, and argument number 3, but I'll go ahead and put that in. You can see here at the end we have our reference articles that can be found using this search engine, and this last search engine forwards to the San Marino High School Library's webpage, and they have a database that you can search through. I searched through it, and it was a little bit weak, but you can go ahead and look through that and see if there's any helpful material there. Journ is very good. RefSeek also gave plenty of articles that you can go through and use to support your argument. Here's a reference for the APA formatting that I want for each reference. And then we come to our summary and conclusion, which is basically 2 to 3 well thought out sentences stating why your opponent is wrong and why your arguments are valid. Okay. And so that's basically it. What you want to do as a group is, for your summary, collect all the summaries from everyone in your group, and then come up with your own opening statement that you're going to do to best represent your group. Collect all your arguments from your group, and that might be 8 to 12 different arguments. Choose the best ones. Choose the ones that you want to present. Think about your timing. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead and time yourself, and of course you can't just race through all your arguments. There's a style of debating that found success in the high school circuit, where you would speak as fast as you can, bringing up as many arguments as you possibly can in the time that was allotted. Right, and that way, your opponent couldn't effectively, present the opposite case. Couldn't effectively argue against you because there was just too much material for them to cover in the time that was allotted. I don't want you to do that. Okay, so please don't, just go ahead and have all the arguments that were researched by your group and present them all, reading through them as if you were reading through a legal document at the end of a commercial. Right? So go ahead and just pick a couple of them, speak on them clearly, briefly, and slowly, just do the best that you can given the 3 minutes that you have. And then, of course, for our conclusion summary, go ahead and do the same. Gather all the conclusion and summary statements from your group and compile them together to create something that will have a good effect on the debate. Right? You want to kind of leave the debate feeling like you won the argument. Okay, great. And so here's a couple of additional tidbits. We have extra credit. You will be given an extra credit point if you list an additional point with your references and your counterpoint with reference. And here we could see a model written component. Right, click on that. You'll be sent to, I think it was a debate on whether homework should be removed from high school curriculum. And so that's a model written component that you can use to guide your own creation of this document. And then if we go ahead and look down, we have this rubric. It's the San Marino High School oral presentation rubric, and I'm going to be giving you 1 to 5 based on what we have here. Okay, so go ahead and study that and be sure you're on point. And for your oral presentations, it would be nice, I'm not going to make it a requirement, but it would be nice if you were dressed, one level of formality higher than what you normally come to high school dressed as, right? So I guess a dress shirt and slacks if you're a guy, and I guess maybe a dress if you're a girl, right? So just kind of look professional. Of course, I'm not going to make that a requirement, but that would be nice. Okay. And then we go ahead and look down here. We have our researchers content rubric. And so I'm going to be grading you based on this, right? I'll give you 5 if you hit all the points, and 1 if you need some improvement. And so down here at the very bottom, here we have the document that I want you to fill out and send to me on Schoology so that I can assess the work that you did. And so we're going to have today and Thursday to research and practice, and then we're going to have Friday to deliver the debate. Good luck.